Hey everybody, this is B Word of the Bleach Brothers podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to bring your attention to our Linktree. Please visit Linktree/Bleach Bros podcast for the links to all of our socials, streaming sites, and merch. Linktree is linktr.ee/Bleach Bros podcast, all one word. If you enjoy our content, make sure to give us a like and give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Also, invite your friends. And with that, let's get started with the show. You're listening to the Bleach Brothers podcast, hosted by B Word and Jake. Oh shit, talking to you reminds me I gotta take out the trash tonight.
I hope you save that as a drop.
Welcome into the Bleach Brothers podcast. This is B Word
Fuck you.
and Jake with
Yep.
his four-letter words. My educated friend.
I like the word fuck. Like,
What
It's
is your
not
favorite
my-
four-letter word, bro? Is
Cunt.
it fuck?
cunt.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cunt is the best word ever. Even though I'm Bald Eagle Freedom Party, Hot Dogs for Life, 1776, the Europeans got one thing right, and that's the use of cunt. It means so many things, and it's so it's like, there's a level of offense, right?
Yeah.
It's so high on that level. There's no coming back. Like, you say that to somebody, like, you can say fuck you nowadays, right? Nobody cares. You say you're a goddamn cunt.
You're
You're ruining
really
lives.
missing the boat though. Because one of my favorite shows is on Apple Plus. You don't have Apple Plus,
No,
do
you need to share your login with me.
It's oh shit, what is it? It's the god
Is
damn
it
it.
Ted
I can't
Lasso?
remember. Ted Lasso, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You know why I was going to ask you for this password on off the air is because you made a comment to somebody going, "Oh, that show's so great." And I went, "How is B-Word watching this without me? I need."
Dude, it's like
I need
it's the
access.
greatest feel good show, dude. It's phenomenal.
Do they use the word cunt?
Oh, frequently.
See, great word.
Frequently.
Feel good show. Great word.
It's set in England or Manchester or some shit. And
Somewhere where
so-
they use cunt prevalently.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, that's one of George Carlin's 7 words. You know what I mean? So the 7 words that got him in trouble with the FCC. Can you name all 7 words?
Shit, piss, ass, fuck, cunt. What is it? Oh, no, there's a song by Blink-182. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat.
Yeah, fart, turd, and twat aren't the 7 words, but yes,
I know, but yeah.
you got the rest of them correct.
Yeah.
So are we getting canceled tonight? Is that kind of the plan?
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the best mood, and you're here helping me, making me jovial. I'm a jovial cunt.
Jovial.
Like, what is it? What did we talk about a long time ago?
Dude,
What I'm
I think-
I'm a gay agriculturalist.
Yeah, I don't think I would call you a jovial cunt. I think I would probably call you like an entertaining ankle.
That's fine.
Because you're 3 feet lower than a cunt tonight.
Well, I hang low, so.
I'm just saying.
Well, so what? I mean, here's the funny thing. Me and my brother make words mixed with food
Yeah,
and inappropriate words. That's what we call each other. So, like, I call him a twat waffle.
right.
Like, do you do that? Do you like mix the inappropriates with foods?
Yeah, I call you a fuck muffin every once in a while.
That's true. Well, you also, what's that word you use that I hate? That was like the meaning of a story or something. The what is it? The MacGuffin. The egg
Yeah, the
MacGuffin. I
and it's
hate
not the
that.
meaning of a story, you
Whatever.
cocksucker.
It's the plot point or some gay ass shit.
It's a quest that's happening in the back part of a story that doesn't really feed into the plot, but gives the character something to focus on.
That sounded
You know
worse.
what it is? A MacGuffin. The perfect thing about a MacGuffin is the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, because you never see what's in the briefcase, but everybody's going after this briefcase.
I hate that I'm a good co-host and I just let you continue on that as everybody could hear me breathing heavily.
Whatever.
You're like Frodo, and everybody wants you to die. Like,
Yeah.
the journey you're explaining, nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
you know what
I
you know what I
agree.
love about tonight though, B-word? You asked just
That beauty is only skin deep.
depends on if it's foreskin or not and you cut it off.
I don't know, man. Ugly goes clean to the bone, bro. Just be
We just
careful.
decided to hit record and see how it goes. I mean,
We did.
we invite good guests. We do good commentary, and we'll see how this one goes. But I mean, sometimes it's fun just to let loose, right? I think more
Yeah.
people need to do that too. Sometimes you just need to let loose, right, and just let it go and like let it happen.
Right?
I don't know what happened for you this week that you'd like to get into.
Dude, I started watching Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain to you that I'm late to the party on this. Like I've never watched Yellowstone up until this week, and I've already finished season 1.
See, I'm on episode 3, season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm behind.
It's amazing, dude.
Yeah. No, would you fuck the sister?
Yes.
Doggy style only or front face?
I don't know, man. It kind of depends on how desperate the night goes.
She doesn't have an upper lip, and it scares me.
She's got a weird looking face.
Well,
Like,
yeah, it looks. Yeah, I mean, she's hot. It's that hot. No, you can't explain it, right?
right. She's got this, I don't know. It's like her eyes, her forehead kind of carries her eyes, and so like they gave her bangs to try to eliminate the focus on that, but her eyes are so sunk into her face. Like, and I'm not saying she's not attractive. She's a pretty lady, but I don't know, just something weird about her, dude.
Yeah, we're getting
It's
real
like
in.
Rocky Dennis mixed with a ginger.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting real in depth, but I wouldn't equate her to like Allison Pill, right?
Right.
From Newsroom. I mean, she's a nice woman, great actress.
Allison Pill is really
it looks
weird.
like claymation, dude.
I don't know that I would go with
the eyes were
claymation.
pushed in too far.
Celebrity deathmatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
I don't know. So, okay, so I've been watching Yellowstone, and I will say this, I bought a new truck. Super happy with it, dude. My redneck is showing. It's amazing. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing, man, because when you have good credit, you could do shit.
Good credit's
And
a great thing, dude.
People don't really like value credit anymore. Like they're just like, oh well, here's this excuse, or oh well, here's this excuse, and it's like, man, good credit's valuable. You gotta do something with it.
I will tell the crowd you helped me with my credit years.
Yeah.
I mean, I have great credit now. And I mean, I'm also blessed with a good job, and that corporate money is the other shows mention all the time. But I mean, I remember when I called you, and I was still making good money then, but I just wasn't doing the things properly to get myself in the correct circumstances, if that's the best way to put it.
Right.
And you helped me tremendously. I mean, you're a very smart person with that. I mean, I would consider myself smarter in the sense of like crypto and investment stance.
Right.
But dude, good credit saves you a ton. It does a ton. It's amazing what happens when you have it.
It's one of those things that you take for granted. I mean, dude, I used to have some really shitty credit, but I think everybody kind of has that stage. You know what I mean? But when you're able to say, I want that and all of this included without you charging me, and here's my credit score, that's big dick energy right there, dude. You walk in there and you're just like, okay, you don't want to make a deal with me, fine, I'll leave. But see, they know that like they make the deal and they're getting some commission off of it.
Well, yeah,
You
and
know
you're
what I mean?
paying for it. They know you're
Yeah.
going to pay because you have good credit,
Yeah.
right? That was like when I bought my house. I essentially could. I'll never forget the day we were buying our house. Right, we were touring a new property. Everything was being built, and the funny thing is, when I moved to my neighborhood, all my neighbors, who I'm really good friends with, all admitted they wanted my house, and we talked about this. And I walked in, and I was actually going to show my mom where we were planning to probably buy a house, and we toured it and went into the mock up one or whatever.
Right.
We walked outside, and everybody was pointing at the plot of land we were buying, or we were going to buy and build on. And everybody, and I walked in, I said, how many people? And she goes, there's 5 people interested today. I said, I'll buy it right now. And they already knew everything about us, credit and everything. And it was just so funny how I was so determinate. And my wife's like, and I'm like, it's fine. It's going to be, and she's so happy we did. because everybody, as soon as we walked out, we found out later, all walked in and made an offer, but we already got it.
Oh, really?
And we had better credit. We had everything set up, and it just worked out perfectly. But it was also the fact, like you said, the big dick energy, right? BDE, where we walked in, I said, this is what I want. I'm going to have it. I can afford it. I can do whatever I want. And it worked out. And it was funny when I met my neighbors later, they're like, oh, I wanted your house. And I mean, it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
When you can have what you want, but also work for it. I mean, I want listeners to know this too. I mean, we're not those people we're not those people like silver spoon in our mouth, right?
No, dude, they should have seen the beds that I slept on growing up, bro. Oh my God. Or the houses we lived in.
Or
It's
the bed I
crazy.
didn't have, right? Remember,
Right?
I grew up with a love seat, or also I had
Yeah.
for a long time, I just had a mattress pad as my bed. And it's funny, I meet people and are like, well, Jake, I don't know. I'm not going to put into political terms or anything, but people are like, oh, well, you just grew up with money. And then it's like people meet me and think that instantly because I've worked hard for what I have and I own most of what I have. And it's just funny how people equate your success based on what must have came before you without the work. And I think that's a frustrating thing I'm going through right now.
Dude, I don't want to get political because that's not what the show is. But I will say there is more focus on guilt and victimhood than I've ever seen. And it's on every side of the aisle, and it's with every race. And I'm just kind of sick of it because at the end of the day, dude, you and I are actually proof that, you can succeed at life. Like there is no way that a teenage father in high school should have made it to be good credit buying a truck. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
there's
owning a
no
house.
way.
I remember
Yeah.
your piggy bank was as tall as you. It was a Coca-Cola bottle
Yeah.
that you saved from wherever. And I'll say this, and you could stop me or cut it out if you want. But when you got kicked out, when you were a teenage dad, and you lived with me for a while, and I remember you brought that Coke
Yeah.
bottle over, and me and you went to the bank, and that's when what was it? Coinstar just came out.
No, we went to we were gonna go to the bank, but they didn't have a coin thing, so we had to
Right.
go to the casino.
We went to the casino, but that was also like when Coinstar was coming out, and me and you changed in all your coins,
Yeah.
and I think it was like 700 and
Yeah,
something
it was
bucks.
a
It's like
large amount of money,
778,
dude.
or
And
it was always stuck in my
yeah,
head.
I'd save that for as long as I could, dude. Anytime I had spare change, it was going right in the bucket or right in that big ass Coca-Cola bottle.
I will
But
say, for everything we had going wrong, we were always that house though that everybody was
oh yeah,
welcome
dude.
in.
Yeah, you guys were definitely Switzerland. Like there was a lot of shit going on with a lot of people. I mean, there's probably shit that was going on with our friends that we didn't even know about. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a safe space,
Yeah,
and not like a safe space today where
your
you have
feelers
to
are hurt
feel
and you need to
safe.
cry.
Yeah, fuck
No,
your
people.
feelings.
I remember I had so many friends that lived with us, and it's like when we tell the stories, like, "Oh no, you had the friend." No, they weren't just on the couch. Like Travesty got kicked out for piercing his nipples, and he had to live with me for months. Remember that?
Right,
And all we did as friends, remember, we made fun of him, going, "Dude, you had 3 months until you're 18. You couldn't wait the 3 months."
right.
Like
Yeah,
you're like the kid that got the STD test and was told they couldn't jerk off for a week, or you might catch it again, and you still went and jerked off 2 days in.
yeah. No shit,
Like,
dude.
calm down, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So what's going on with your week?
Work. Everybody, I will say this: everybody got COVID in my house. And somebody sent me a message, and I sent a joke back, going, "I don't know which Greek alphabet letter I got, but it fucked me in the ass harder than theta or an omega dick."
I'll tell you which one it wasn't. It
Which
wasn't
one?
she,
Dude, it
because
sucked.
apparently you can't name COVID strains after the Chinese dictator.
Oh, well,
So there's that.
it was, dude, for me, and I mean, I got man sick, and I will admit this: men get sick differently than women. I will attest to that. When I get sick, I will fully admit I get man sick, where I am a baby. I require more attention. I require more everything. I laid in my room and quarantined myself. And mind you, I'm gonna brag about this. I have a master. You've seen my house, B word, at least photos. I have a giant master bedroom with 2 master closets, and my bathroom is probably bigger than most people's bedrooms. Right? I quarantined myself in there, and my whole family was not allowed in there. It was me with my cure-all. I had crappy chicken noodle soup, Gatorade, saltine crackers, and Land Before Time.
Did you watch Land Before Time?
Twice.
You son of a bitch.
Twice.
That's
I
funny.
always do, and it makes me feel better. And I had my Ninja Turtle blanket, and my wife would check on me every now and then. I had some NyQuil, and I had the 103 degree fever though for 3 days. It was terrible. And everybody else got in the house, and the kids burned it off. The wife, she deals with it better than me because she's not a man, because we're pussies. But no, I had it, and it was terrible, dude. But other than that, Moon Knight trailer came out. I'm very excited.
I'm excited for it. I'm skeptical though.
Oh, me too.
I'm skeptical. I want violence. I want absolute violence, and I don't think we're going to get it, dude, because I think
Disney. We're going to get more estate. I will say this, and tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm going to go down a little path, right? So the Punisher, we got violence. I won't deny we got violence with it. But did you expect such good storytelling with mental health and PTSD with soldiers in the Punisher?
From Netflix? Yeah. From Disney? Not so much.
What I'm saying is, though, wasn't it a breath of when you think of the Punisher, you just think of violence, right? And that makes a good character. I'm hoping that we get a character with the state of mental awareness mixed with enough violence to make it worthwhile. In the sense of, I really hope they dwell into something that I didn't think of, because I didn't imagine the Punisher was going to go down those rabbit holes, and it was a breath of fresh air and done so well.
Right.
That's my hope for it. I mean, the funny thing was that he's one of my favorite characters. My wife goes, "I've never heard you talk about him," and I think it's because he's not a prevalent character. I do all the time. I talk about him.
Yeah, he's just not one of those characters that sits out in the forefront, though.
No,
he's a great character. I mean, my gosh, he takes on so many different identities because he's got that, what is it, dissociative personality disorder or whatever it's called. And I mean, his backstory is cool. His backstory is real cool. I had heard some rumors that this is supposed to be set in London. Am I correct on that, or did they just film it in London?
But I also heard, based on the character, you don't ever know where anything is, right? And that's the hope. I mean, you don't want it to be so twisted where it's almost like Inception, where it's hard to follow, right? Not that you can watch Inception a few times, but there's still parts of it you're like, what the fuck, right? And you want twists, and you want it to not all make sense, but you want it to make enough sense to connect to the MCU, because if it's so disassociated, and it's like that theory, right, of Batman's not really Batman, he's in Arkham Asylum and just thinks he fights villains, right? If it goes down that path of where Moon Knight's not really a hero, he's just in his own mind, which the way the comic is written is sometimes you don't know if it's real or not, right? That's where you get in trouble.
Yeah, I think so. I don't I don't really like the big twists per se, where at the end of the movie it's some kid what they did in Men in Black, where they're in a marble. Remember that? Or where they're in a universe in a marble,
the galaxy. Yeah, they're playing marbles.
Yeah, okay, I get where they were going with that, but that was just stupid.
Did they ever finish out that thought with the next two?
No,
I don't really pay attention.
And that's kind of my problem with that whole movie franchise. But I don't like gotcha shit. When you're talking to somebody and that they're going to try to call you out on something. You know what I mean? And they're just like, "Oh, well, you didn't XYZ," and you're like, "Yeah, motherfucker, you know why XYZ? Because your XYZ fucking sucks." It's fucking stupid, dude. And that whole gotcha thing, I just hate people who do gotcha. And when you do gotcha storylines like that, oh, look at what the real big picture is. It's you're a fucking dumbass. I don't know. I'm just kind of over that shit.
Gotcha people are the type of people that catch you in a 2-minute rant and equate it to your whole life.
Gotcha people are they're the kind of people who just share shit. Just to share shit, that everybody knows this woman, right? So you know a woman in your community who always complains, who is single, who she says is by choice, but the reality is she only sleeps with meth heads or wannabe rappers, you know? And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that my picker's broken and no man deserves me. And but she shares like 42 posts a day on social media, just talking about random shit. She's like, look what I ate. And it's like, shut up, bitch. Nobody cares. That's
I
that's kind of that's my thing right now. So when you want to play gotcha shit, but you're sitting there sucking on the dong of a meth head, fuck off.
I love your social media timeline B word.
Fuck out of here, dude.
Oh, dude, it's great. I mean, it is one of those things. I think we rely too heavily on social media. And that's not, I mean, we went down that rant, but also the fact that people take everything for face value instead of actual value, right?
Right.
Like talking about value of things, right? I think people overvalue everything they own. They undervalue everything they own. If that makes sense on both sides of the coin. Like if they're going to sell their car, of course their, 2001 Honda Civic that they loved in high school is worth 21,000, right?
Yeah.
But their 2018 brand new Jeep is terrible, right? Because of course they need the new one.
Right.
The other fact is that they undervalue anything they have in the sense of like they make that whole myth about Instagram people, right? That are famous. Like their
Right.
life is so great, but then again, it's just all photos. And how great is it actually?
Well,
Are they really happy?
we talked about a couple weeks ago, the demons that Robin Williams was facing. And not that he needs to be the focal point of this episode, but people, sometimes, man, there's a lot of self-inflicted bullshit that people do, and it's like, okay, I get when you have a struggle, and I get when you're dealing with shit. I mean, there's some heavy shit that's out there, dude. Life sucks sometimes. But if all you want to do is be a victim, like, come on, you got a different choice to make.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick up your bootstraps and do that. I think, and there's a difference of opinion on those things. But I don't know. I guess I'm sick of people equating their life. And I mean, we're in that sense, like we want people to listen to the show and like our page and, like, subscribe, follow, buy merch, all that, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, B word, it's not, and I'm not shitting on listeners, but I mean, we don't, if we had 200 listeners tomorrow and in a year we have 200 listeners, I'm still happy as long as we have fun, right? We've said that. But I don't equate like our value based on, we only had 4 likes on this photo today.
I don't know, dude. We only had like 6 likes on our Instagram post today.
See, shut the fuck up.
And I went home and I sat down after work, and you do that little after work push, you know what I mean? You're grunting a little bit. There's toilet paper involved. And I sat there and I'm like, am I going to use the toilet paper for its intended purpose, or am I going to use it to dry my tears? Because there was like a serious like debate going on right there.
This goes back to every time I actually try to make a serious point. You do 3 things. You either talk about pooping, which is funny because you always call me when you poop. Let's just be honest for the fans.
Dude,
there.
I don't know what it is. Like every time I call you, you're either pooping or I'm pooping.
Okay. So serious topic. When you're on the phone with somebody, right, and they're in the bathroom, do you mute the flush or do you leave it on?
Depends on who it is. For you, I leave the flush on. But like if I'm talking to my mom as an example, like I don't want her to
Do
hear
you
the
even let her
flush.
know though you're in there?
No.
That's why you mute the flush.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you only mute? So I actually got caught when I was on a work call.
Yeah.
In the toilet. And somebody's like, "Are you in the bathroom?" And it's like, "Yeah, because I'm in my throne room in my own bathroom, and it's super echoey."
Dude, right after COVID, my kid had to go to online school, just like everybody else had to go to online school.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on some Zoom call, and the teacher didn't realize that his Zoom was open, and like the camera wasn't facing anywhere, but all the kids could listen to him. So they'd hear the fart in the toilet bowl, and then they heard the pinch and the plop and all that sort of shit. And my kid posted about it right on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this," and didn't call out the teacher, like didn't say the teacher's name. Well, it was so funny, dude, because I'm friends with one of the teachers at the high school, and she reaches out to me and she's like, "Which teacher was that?" And so I told her, and yeah, that was funny shit, dude. It was funny shit. Hey, but I saw this post, and I just thought it was interesting. So my buddy Chris, he's like super into Bitcoin, right? And not just Bitcoin, but just
Crypto.
trading crypto. And his caption was new economy. Okay.
Mm.
So here's the businesses that are being shared, and it says something is happening, right? So Airbnb. So everybody seems to know what Airbnb is. At least I hope everybody knows. But Airbnb is the world's largest accommodation provider, right? But they own no real estate.
Right.
Okay. Then you have Alibaba, right? Alibaba is basically like, yeah. So they're the world's most valuable retailer, but they don't own any inventory. You have Uber, which is the world's largest taxi company, but doesn't own any vehicles. And then you have Facebook, which is the world's most popular media owner, but it creates new content. Okay, now the whole thing about this is that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is the world's biggest bank with no actual cash, right?
Right.
So when we're talking about people with social media and stuff, like I kind of think of that in the same terms with like social media. It's the world's largest social gathering, if you will.
Right.
But there's really no socializing, if it makes sense like that, right? You're just interacting online. It's like I kind of feel like we should probably be more genuine and go back to the age, sex, location in our chats. You know what I mean?
ASL, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy with non-transactional funds that don't exist but actually exist, right? I mean, you could equate that to the 80s, right? When people were trading stocks like crazy and you're buying something that doesn't exist, but you're also buying value into something, right?
Like penny stocks.
Right. So, but there's value there behind a company that is, but you're owning something that technically doesn't have value. So, I mean, when you own social media, right? There's no real value behind it besides what you put into it or what other people think it's worth, right? Like there's the quote, an idiot's born tomorrow, or there's always an idiot born tomorrow, whatever, right? But also the fact that, like, as I made fun of somebody who said their Honda Civic from 2001 is worth $21,000, it is sometimes to people.
Yeah.
I mean, I sell stuff on Marketplace all the time, right? And me and you have talked, I've sold stuff for ungodly amounts that make no sense, right?
Right.
But somebody found value in it. So, and I trade a lot of crypto. So I understand that it's hard for some generations to comprehend how you're putting money into something that technically doesn't have value but does have value. But as societies, we've done that forever. Like I love that argument. Like when you talk to older people, right? Well, the generation ahead sucks, and I've equated it once in the 1500s. 80-year-old people were bitching about 20-year-old people. Nothing's changed. They've always bitched about the past, right? Like how I bitch about emojis, right? Is the same way our generation saying cursive needs to still exist.
Yeah.
And in all reality, it doesn't. You know why?
Right.
Old English writing existed to a point, and then eventually it's gone. Like we're not arguing for it.
Look at shorthand, dude. Like they don't teach shorthand anymore.
No, but the thing is, like, we do complain, like, oh, this is the only way. No, it's the only way me and you know. Doesn't mean it's not better. Doesn't, just like you're saying, like, taxi cabs were a thing and then Uber came around. And let's be honest, Uber's way better than taxi cabs. Right. What would you rather take tomorrow?
Lyft.
Well, fuck, same. Tomato, potato. But that's my point.
Right.
Like, people bitch that, we shouldn't get rid of old ways. And, I'm someone that sometimes that get off my lawn. Like, I appreciate the old ways, but I also understand the new age. Like,
right.
I love old rap, but Tekashi 6ix9ine exists for a reason. And it's catchy as fuck.
Well, we can have a difference of opinion there, but let's go ahead and take a real quick break so that way we can plug another pod. What do you think?
Sure.
Hey, you there. Do you like podcasts?
Are you tired of the bullshit?
Well, this is not the podcast for you.
Actually, it is, and we are
the Lords of Swine.
We discuss nerd culture, and we drop every Tuesday
on any platform.
We're literally everywhere.
So, not to switch subjects with you,
Go ahead.
Being that we came out of the break, You mentioned something earlier, and you said whether we have 200 followers today and we have 200 followers next year, you're just happy putting out this content, right? You're happy having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah, I want growth. I'm not going to deny that, but yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoy me and you talking.
I agree. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I know that we bicker and banter and all that sort of shit, but at the end of the day, we enjoy our conversations. But I guess we're this will we're a few months away, or a couple 3 months away from actually doing this for a year now. What I guess for podcasters that are listening to this, that are thinking about starting up their own podcast, what are some things that you would have done differently, do you think? Like maybe we would have started doing something earlier. Maybe we would have done whatever. I mean, what do you think there?
Reached out to the community more, and worked with more podcasts that I had interests with.
Yeah.
I think we've had great guests. I think we still have good guests coming up, but I think in the beginning I would have done that more. I think we practiced good enough, but I also, I guess it's the way I would have went about the episodes and everything, right? Like we invested a lot of details, but there were other details that came that we had to learn, like better mics, quality, editing, sound stuff. I guess also though, be in the beginning, I would have been more upfront with myself. Like I think that episode where we talked about mental health, like just be more open. I feel like we get caught in that guard of this is who I am, here's who I'll present, and that's all that needs to matter. And me and you have had multiple conversations about being canceled and how culture is, and can we say this, can we say that? We get risque and stuff, and we're all over the place with episodes at the time. There's episodes where we're so batshit crazy saying cunt nonstop, like the beginning of this episode, and then we get into serious topics. And I like the mix we have, but I wish I would have been a little more open and honest from the beginning.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think, I think for me, probably the one thing that I would have done more is gotten more involved in talking with other podcasters. Like I'm surprised at how big the network is. Like on places like Twitter, Facebook. I mean, there's so many podcasters that are out there, which God bless them. There's a lot of good podcasts that are out there. I mean, you and I have either taken part in podcasts, either as a guest or as a subject in some cases, or whatever. Like there's a whole network out there. But what I think the thing that pleases me the most out of networking with these guys is that nobody's embarrassed to share information. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I agree with you to the point, I think, but I also think it goes with the whole societal thing, right? You're going to present only your best side.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think a lot of podcasts and we've done this in the green room. We've talked, and there's been shows that have been more open, and some that are too open, and some that are not open at all.
Right.
And vice versa for us, right? We haven't shared every tidbit, quarry of our dark corners, right? But I don't think always there's been the most openness about every little detail.
Well, I would say that there's probably
more
out of everybody that we've interacted with, there might be maybe a handful or less of people who, I don't know. I don't want to say that they were, holding their cards to their chest, like in a jealous way or in a protective way. I just kind of think that not everybody's willing to share, and in some cases it might be due to pride. And I'm
it's
okay
also
with
the
that.
fear, right? Like you don't. Yeah. It's like why people don't ask people out or whatever. You're afraid to know. And I'm not saying people didn't share enough. Everybody shared a lot.
Yeah.
But I also feel sometimes you keep certain things to yourself or your chest because not everything needs to be known, right?
Right.
Now, on the flip side of that, going through almost this year, what are you happy you did not do as a podcast?
And this is not a shot to any podcast. So, if you're a podcaster and you're listening to this and you feel attacked by this, my apologies up front, because this is literally not directed toward any one person. But I'm really happy we didn't hit the ground running like, hey, can we be a guest? hey, can we be a guest? Hey, can we be a guest? And try to intrude on that. Because I mean, we've had a couple people that have said, "Hey, can we be a guest? Hey, can we be a guest?" And we've accommodated, on our show, and then we've guested on other people's shows, and I think for the most part we've had a good time. But I just think it comes across as like needy, or it comes across as desperate. So I'm really happy we didn't start off on that foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's that difference of inviting. Like, what did you invite yourself to the party, or were you actually invited to the party?
Right. Oh, there's a party in my pants.
I mean, I'm glad we didn't also invite her, but I think also like we were that thing. Like, we also thought, are we worthy to be invited
Yeah.
to these shows? Because we also wanted to make sure we put out a good quality product on our own. And are we interesting? I mean, the hard thing is when you do this, right? And I've equated this. We've talked before, like when I did stand up or anything. You have those friends at the bar, right, that tell a good story. And it's funny because you know each other's inflections and stuff, and you know how your demeanors are, and you're friends, right? You know the inside jokes, you know how they're going to say their banter and everything. It doesn't mean they're funny to the world.
Yep.
And it is very hard at times to be, I mean, this episode might be one of the worst episodes. We're just bantering, right? But we're trying to be interesting in a way, to society, in the sense of, are we interesting with what we talk about? Are we funny? And not just to each other or people that know us. I mean, because when you start out, right, of course, your friends, your family are going to be the listeners, right? And then when you start to hit a level of multiple people or compounding on top of that, it's keeping it fresh, but also, do I tell good stories not just at the bar and makes my drunk friends laugh?
The answer is no, but that's why you have a co-host.
Again, I was being serious, and then you went and shit on it.
So if you're going to start a podcast, like somebody's coming to you and they're saying, "Hey, let's start a podcast. What would be some advice you were to give to somebody? Like
Call Will Burtz.
You're right.
No, I mean, do more in-depth research. I mean, and whatever you find out, believe 30% of it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I always argue this whenever I talk to people in the green room. What's more important, listens or downloads?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I mean, and once you hit a level, right?
Advertisers know.
No, but I mean, all right, like if tomorrow we had 250,000 downloads, nobody would care, right? We had 250,000.
Not unless it happened again.
Or if we had 250,000 listens, right? Nobody cares at that point.
Yeah.
But when you're at a level that we're at, independent podcasts, which there's so many out there, right? We're in a convoluted, flooded market. Nobody knows the answer to that.
Right.
And it's the fact of, you can sit here on your throne all day and go, well, as long as I'm happy and I'm doing this product, and we've said that, or as long as the quality's there, or as long as I'm having fun, or as long as I have 6 listeners, or whatever you want to say, right? You do you and you do your show. But at the end of the day, why are you doing your show? Like, I used to argue with people like I remember when AFI was a band, right? And people were saying, oh, they sold out. I'm like, yeah, but if you were in a band and you were offered, let's say, $3 million to sign to a label to put out one album, are you going to do it? Fuck yeah, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
There are the people that say no. There are the people in the world that would say no. But 90% of the time, people are going to say yes.
Yeah, money talks, dude.
And I don't know. I mean, it's a really hard market. There's so many apps. There's so many things. It's such a, like I said, it's convoluted, flooded. We're just a small fish in a gigantic ocean. We have fun. I'm happy with the people we've met. I'm happy with the people we talk to. I'm happy with the people we work with. But at times, I mean, also too, me and you don't let this take over everything.
No. And that's kind of like, that would be my advice. Like, somebody's talking to me, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. What do you think? I'd really center it on 3 things. Number 1, do it because you want to. Don't do it because you feel like you have to or you need to. Because if you're trying to put out content every single week, and you, like, candidly, to everybody who's listening, Jake and I have 0 rundown tonight. Like, we're just having a conversation. And sometimes that's where the best agendas come from. It's just a conversation. But I would say do it because you want to. Don't feel like you're forced to put out a product, and don't overcommit. So that's number one. Number two, I am a fucking stickler on this. Make sure you have a good mic.
Yeah, you like sound quality.
Oh my God. Like there's nothing more distracting when you have like 8 people on a podcast and they all have different sounds. Like they're using different mics and I don't even care about different mics, but they're just all different volumes.
Sound quality and all audio levels are
Yeah. Or you have people who like, and we've had people on here that don't have a mic and that's perfectly fine because we at least try to regulate the sound quality a little bit, but just make sure that the quality that you're putting out sounds good. Like, I don't care if you have a mic or not. Just make sure that it sounds good.
Be proud of your product. I mean, I argue this with chefs all the time, right? I'm not trying to interrupt your third point, but like, I don't know. I'm one of those chefs. I would never send out a plate I'm not proud of. And I feel another thing with society, some people are okay with mediocre.
Right.
And they put out anything and they're just like, well, I did it.
Yeah.
And as we said, we're not trying to shit on other people. We're just actually just talking about it, like points that we make about making a podcast. But I mean, we've put out episodes that we're not the proudest of or quality, but also that's why we practice for a while. And that's why we do send each other rundowns and go through what we're going to talk about and book guests. And we try to be professional because, I mean, we want to make this a professional level.
Right.
And I don't think the care is always there. But we've not always had that care either. And it shows it sometimes.
Well, and that brings me to my third point. Don't have a shtick. Like, if you think that you have a shtick that's going to be like $1 million idea, great.
Like the hater.
Well, I mean, you're more like the cocksucker, but I'm just saying, don't feel like you have to put out some kind of product because you think that it's catchy. Like, be willing to fail. Like we've had episodes that I'm proud of all the content we put out, but we've had some episodes that I don't like, more than others. And we've had some guests that were like, man, I really wish we would have done this or really wish we would have done that. And not to say that any of the guests that have been on have been bad guests. They've all been great guests, but I just think that we could have
done it better.
We could have rolled out the red
them.
We could have, we could have accommodated a little bit better. So yeah, and just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're thinking about starting up a podcast, like it's fun, but make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like there's a couple people online you can follow, like Pixie. Pixie's got, a whole seminar, if you will, on Twitter that, kind of walks you through that. Or, oh gosh, what's that podcast we stumbled upon recently, Jake?
Well, the one I love, the Podcasting Sucks, where Tanner breaks down like,
yeah.
I mean, and the best part is his show came from his first podcast failing and shows like, hey, here's what I would not, I mean, this whole episode's based on that, right? Like, this is what I would not do, or here's how to be better, or here's a guest to explain this. Like,
right.
And I mean, not everybody knows everything, right? Like we don't, I mean, we try our best with marketing and stuff, and we've grown and, we've seen success like other people. And, if it continues, it continues. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And, we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, as long as it's fun. I mean, we say that, but in the reality too, if this became a detriment or too costly, of course, we're not going to do it either, B-word, no matter how fun it is.
Well, but that's the other thing, man. Like if this became a wedge between us, like, again, I know that we bicker and banter and whatever. And some of that's for fun. And some of it's just because we've been, brothers our whole life, more or less. If it actually drove a wedge, like we wouldn't be doing it, because that's not the point of it. You know what I mean? The point is that we're able to have a dialogue. We're able to have a conversation. Hopefully we're able to make each other laugh, and hopefully we're able to make some listener laugh. Like right now, we're probably not making anybody laugh because, we're talking down stupid, emotional, like how to start a podcast subjects.
Well, as soon as you get serious, I let you go. If it was me, you would interrupt it with some poop thing or whatever. But
yeah. So
I don't know. I agree. If you want to start a podcast, do it. I mean, I'm never going to tell anybody not to do something for their, dreams or hopes or whatever. But I've always equated anything I've done, right? And I've been successful at a lot of ventures, right, Bjorn? But I have also equated, I'm not the guy living in my parents' garage, and my band's going to make it tomorrow. And if they don't, I can't afford my rent. Anything that I've equated to a a fun hobby that I hope I can make a job into, I've never quit my job, if that makes sense for it.
I really hope this subject is not an unsalted pretzel, bro, because I kind of feel like we're going down this path where we're talking about, okay, podcast, this and that. And it's like, yeah, but I don't really like unsalted pretzels, but I don't want to spend $8 on a pretzel without salt. Like, how do we do this? Like, you dunk it in cheese, motherfucker.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, we wanted to turn on the mics and talk, and this is what we're feeling.
Yeah.
I guess it's because also, you know, we're almost on that year, right? And we've learned a lot from it. And it's also some of the things we picked up from other people or what we've seen or anything in the market. It's sometimes it's good to let the veil be open for fans, right?
Well, you want to tell them how we first started recording? Like, I know we have that conversation with a lot of people about how we started recording, because we didn't have, like, we record on Zencaster now.
Well, we're not in the same state. We're not in the same room. We're luckily,
so we had to record separate audio tracks. You want to kind of go through that for the audience?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky we're in the same time zone, but I remember when we first started, which I will attest to this. If you listen to old episodes, I hope you can't really tell the difference. I mean, we've worked through audio issues and stuff and timing and working with audio quality. But when we first started, we bought a Shure mic for my iPhone, and you had to use an app called Motive. And the shitty thing about this app, mind you, it's great, but you can only run that app. You could not run anything else while it was on. So I have a work phone as well. So B-Word would call me on my work phone. And I would have one earpiece in from the phone conversation. And then I would have my other phone connected to the mic with the app open, and I would hit record. And you would record on your Mac with your Rodecaster, with your mic, an actual good mic. And we would record two separate conversations. And then at the end of it, I would have to break down compress that file and send it to you. And then you would make sure everything matched up. And then we would splice it together and release the episode. And if it's giving you a headache listening to it, you can imagine being two people, especially B-Word, because good for you. I mean, you handle a lot more on the show than I do at times. I mean, I will say me and you have complimented each other. We, the things you're not good at, I handle it, vice versa, right? We're a great team.
Yeah.
But we would do that, and you would have to edit that and listen to that. And that was, for us, it wasn't bad because we were used to it. But then when we switched to Zencaster,
and we actually got to see each other. Yeah.
Well, that was another hard thing. Another thing that people don't realize is, like, you think it's easier when you can see each other and talk. And we were so used to talking on the phone, and learning how to listen has been a big key in my life, right? Like with sales or anything, like learning to listen to people is a big skill that I implore people to learn, because everybody wants to talk, right? Fight Club said it best. Like, all people are doing is waiting for you to stop talking so they can have their turn. And I think me and you have always had a good balance of listening to the conversation and talking. And when we did it through the phones, we couldn't see each other, and we were waiting for those moments, not just for our turn to speak, but we would actually listen. And when we first went to video where we could see each other, we interrupted each other so much.
Yeah.
Not just from the delay, but we were so used to just listening to each other. I mean, you can tell this too, B-Word. I still don't really look at the camera when we're on. I do better just talking and looking down, and I move all over the place and look at the room and stuff. But when we look at each other, I interrupt you more.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Well, you know, you're the reason why God created 2 ears and a mouth on people, you know, because he's like, Jake, this is God. You have to listen and shut your fucking mouth. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And then you're also the same reason why God gave me 2 middle fingers. So I appreciate that a lot too. But yeah, it's, I mean, like, not to try to get into a how to create a podcast, you know, episode here. But if you're really willing to put the work into it, like, especially like if you're partnering with people, make sure that everybody involved like gives equal amount of time it like they don't have to do the same tasks, but everybody's got to have the same buy-in. Like,
Well, that's what
I'll
me
do
and
a lot
you.
of the creatives. I do a lot of the sharing on the socials. You do a lot of the marketing. You do a lot of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I'll take care of the editing. You take care of the booking of guests. I mean, we're going back and forth as far as the tasks go. Like, I'm not doing everything. You're not doing everything. But at the same time, dude, obviously when you had COVID, like, I understand, like, I got to step up. I got to help you do other things. And when I went out of the country, I mean, we had to, here's a veil back for you guys too. Like, we recorded, what was it, 6 episodes or something like that in the matter of 3 weeks.
Yeah, back to back to
Just
back.
so that way we had our schedule pushed out. So, I mean, we're trying to do what we can to make sure that the brand continues to go forward, but also make sure that we're putting out the same content that we expect and the audience expects and all of that sort of shit. But I don't know, dude, at the end of the day, man, I'm proud of what we're putting out. I know that this episode might be one of those that people just throw away, but it's a good conversation because I think that it's real. It's authentic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like that was the one thing I was gonna make. The one thing that's enjoyable though too, the things you don't like doing, I do, and vice versa. Like, I'll never forget when I got the first sponsor, right? Like, you were handling it at first, and it's not that one was better than the other, but I enjoy it more, and that's more my field. And it was funny. I took over one day. We got our first sponsor, and you're like, and I was explaining it to you on the phone and talking how I wrote it up and everything. You're like, "Oh, you like this?" I was like, "Yeah." You're like, "Thank God, I hate this."
Yeah,
And it was
not
so
what I wanna
enjoyable
do.
because I'm thinking like, "Oh, you like to do this too, B word. Well, we'll share it." You're like, "No, I want nothing to do with this. Good
Yeah.
for you." And it's worked out better that way.
Yeah, no, take all of that down the street and away from me because that's not what I like to do. And what's funny is like I really don't consider myself as a creative person, but when we're trying to create our own memes or we're trying to create little episode thumbnails or anything like that, like, that's my forte, dude. That's when I'm in my element. When we're trying to create new merch or whatever, like, that's my forte. That's when I'm in my element. So it's a pretty good thing, man. But overall, dude, I'm pretty happy. I know that we've met some really killer people within the podcast world. I want to give a couple shout outs here. Obviously, Dad's on Dayquil. They really helped us solidify what we were doing. I don't want to say that they didn't create content for us or anything, but they reassured us that we were going down the right path. Inner Idiot, same thing, man. Tyler Shorty, you guys are fucking hilarious, and we love interacting with you guys. Aaron, oh my god, dude, the I had to say it podcast, I get an absolute kick out of Aaron. We've interacted with a number of other podcasts. I mean, and hopefully we have plenty of them on here in the next year. And AJ with Wyatt and the Ashes, dude, thanks for always letting us use your music and fucking cheering us on. Like, every post almost, you're cheering us on, and it's good shit, man. It's nice
Yeah,
to
the
see.
Salty Hippo Nation's good. Like, I mean, there's a lot of good shows too that we interact with outside.
Yeah.
That we will have on, like Porn Stash, Happy Hour. We were on their show.
I had a blast with
8750 helped.
Happy
A lot.
Hour.
A lot of people have helped us, and it's not necessarily that means you have to work together. It's just the conversations you have, or learning, or talking, or trying to get the word out there. I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing I want people to know too is we might not listen to every damn episode you do, but we're listening to get ideas and not steal, but you know what I mean? Like, to see what you can
To see
do
what
better
kind of
and how.
themes
Yeah.
are out there.
Right.
Yeah. Like, we're not trying to, we're like, dude, we have enough content of our own. We don't have to steal anything, but it's really nice to see how some ideas are approached. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we had the name reveal, right? So we had an idea of where we wanted to go with that. I mean, after all of that, who would have thought that we bleached our pubes, So it's just a fun thing. It's a good thing. If you have an opportunity to start a podcast, rely on that network, dude. Derek Duvall, my God, his interview skills are phenomenal, right? Pub Time podcast, like, man, there's a lot of good ones out there. Mom Swipes Left, like, just enjoy the network. Make sure that you again have real talk. You're authentic. You're original. Unlike Jake is a carbon copy of a poop.
I'm a big piece of crap.
Well,
as you
you
would say.
said it, not me, my man.
I'm just repeating.
On that note,
you've
man,
been
what do you got
saying
for me?
all day. Nothing but thanks for all the dirty talk and come back and get sanitized.